Happy Thursday and welcome to this month's webinar. I am Lakin Coleman with the New Growth Women's Business Center, and today I am happy to introduce Ms. Carolina Vargas and Versi Lark, as well as Sheila Forrester from the SBA. Today we want to thank you all for giving us the opportunity to learn on the Women's Business Certification Training, and also a special thank you to you guys for your assistance in the preparation of this webinar. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Carolina so she can get us started.
All right, well, thanks, Lakin, and thanks everyone for joining today. Today we will be discussing the Women-Owned Small Business Federal Contracting Certification Program. And today with me, I have Mr. Versi Lark, our Regional Administrator, and Ms. Sheila Forrester, our Economic Development Specialist for the Kansas City District Office. But I'm going to let Mr. Lark go ahead and introduce himself, and then we will start our webinar after that. Mr. Lark?
Yes, thank you for introducing me, Carolina, and thank you for having me on the webinar. I'm glad to be here. I'll take maybe 5 minutes, no more than that, because ultimately the meat of this discussion is going to come from the folks who are going to enlighten you about the WOSB program, and I think that's most important. So my name is Versi Lark. I'm the Regional Administrator for the SBA, recently appointed by the President Biden administration. And my role is pretty simple: to reach out and provide outreach to as many people as I can to help bring the power of the SBA forward to business owners, our resource partners, people in the community who actually support small businesses. And so today I'm just going to provide a few brief comments about the Women-Owned Small Business Program related to federal contracting. And then I'm going to get off the stage and let the magic happen. So at the end of the day, the federal government we spend about $500 billion in federal contracts every year, and about 154 billion actually are provided to small businesses in the form of contract awards, where everybody from people that provide pens and pencils to people that provide building facilities, cleaning facilities, construction, you name it, all the things that you would expect that you see happening across the nation is generally provided through contractors for the federal government. And of that, our goal is to have 15% of that money going to small disadvantaged businesses. And what that means is organizations that are owned by women, minorities, et cetera, people who are either economically or socially disadvantaged for some reason. Think about veterans or people that are disabled, those kinds of business owners. And so our goal is to get to 15% by 2025. And so the Women-Owned Business, Small Business, WOSB, as we say, federal contracting program is really focused on targeting underrepresented demographics, so women who simply are not getting their fair share of our federal contract. Our goal is to get about 5% of all small disadvantaged businesses, those awards going to WOSB, if you will, or economically disadvantaged women's small businesses. There's a lot of acronyms here to make sure that we're leveling up, if you will. We're really making the playing field level for women to actually get into the contracting business with the federal government. If you can imagine, there are lots of industries that women aren't the majority in, or in some cases, a very, very small minority. And the WOSB program really sets aside contract awards specifically targeted to these types of businesses. And so I always use the word, if you want to get into the federal contracted business, how do you get into the game? You got to get certified. And so this conference is really about how to help you start that process to get certified as a women-owned small business, so that you are eligible to contract with the federal government and take advantage of those set-asides that are contracts specifically targeted for women to do business with the government. So with that, I'm going to get off the stage and say thank you for coming. I really appreciate having you here. And I'm going to turn it back over to Carolina so she can actually take you through the information that is so important. And I hope you decide to get certified to work with our government as soon as possible. Have a great day.
Well, thank you, Mr. Lark. We appreciate your words and inspiration for those women out there that are looking for the contracting opportunities. But right now, I'm going to introduce my co-worker, Sheila Forrester, our Economic Development Specialist here in the Kansas City District Office. Sheila?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the webinar today. As Carolina mentioned, we are located in the Kansas City District Office. Our job, our role is to work with small businesses, just like, with Lakin, and including our women's business centers, our SCORE, our SBDCs, all of these, partner resources are there to help you along your way. I encourage you to, reach out to Lakin, for, advice, or for her to point you in the direction that you are seeking counsel in. Anyway, I will turn it back over to Carolina and look forward to hearing the training session. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sheila. We appreciate it. All right, so like I mentioned, we are going to be discussing the Women-Owned Small Business Federal Contracting Certification Program. First, I want to talk about the understanding of the program, the eligibility, the contracting opportunities, the application and the certification process, of course, our resources, and we're just going to leave the questions for the end. And towards the end of the presentation, there will be a QR code that if we can ask you to please provide us. It's a short survey just of the information that I am providing to you today. So first, let's learn about what is, if you are ready for federal contracting. Just like Mr. Lark was explaining, the federal agency or the federal contracting is one of the largest customers buying all kinds of products. And I can speak that for myself. I was in the military, and just like you mentioned, the government buys from pens, papers, toilet paper, anything that you can think of. So, and that includes the services as well. And it's required by the law to provide contracting opportunity for small businesses like you. So if you want to learn more a little bit about more on the contracting, you can always go to the sba.gov/contracting to learn of all the different opportunities, not just the WOSB certification, but we have the hub zone. We have, if you're a disabled veteran, you can get information on that. And we also have what is called the 8A contracting, which is designed for small disadvantaged businesses. So I'm going to explain something real quick because a lot of people get confused on the different certifications. There's the certifications through the federal government, and there is certifications through the state. So with the SBA or federal government, you have the 8A program certification, you have the WOSB or EWOSB, and just like Ms. Lurk said, there's a lot of acronyms, but we also have the hub zone, and we have the disabled veteran certification program. So I'm going to put an example as of me. I am a minority person. I am a woman. I'm a disabled veteran. And let's just say that I am applying for the 8A certification. How does that really work? If I am going to compete for a contract, every agency, just like you see over here, they have boxes to check. So each year, the government sets aside 23% of contracting dollars to small businesses. So honestly, I fit all the categories if I was applying for a contract. And each agency has a different goal. But the overall goal is 5% goes to women-owned businesses. The 5% between the 11 and 15% goes to small disadvantaged businesses. 3% for the hub zone and 3% for the small disadvantaged veteran owned small businesses. So I'm just checking every box on that contracting officer, just me. But if you have maybe 2 certifications, either the hub zone or the women owned, you can also apply for different ones if you do qualify. All right, so on the next slide. All right, so the WOSB Federal Contracting Program, usually you take advantage of the annual prime contracting goals. Just like I was explaining, those goals are set for differently for each agency. You build your capacity and you grow. And there's access to set aside for just WOSB and EWOSB certification companies. Next slide. So a lot of people ask themselves, what is all this acronym? So we have the WOSB, which stands for Women-Owned Small Businesses. And the EWOSB is for economically disadvantaged women-owned small businesses. The EWOSB is a subset of the WOSB. As such, you qualify for both the EWOSB, you automatically qualify for the WOSB. Next slide. But with that being said, some of the industries do not all the program is applicable to all industries. So the qualified industries are also divided between the WOSB and the EWOSB. And like I said, there's going to be a lot of acronyms I'm going to try to explain as I go, but the industry specific, which is the NICSCOs, and it stands for the North American Classification System, is what decides if you are a small business. And there's different classifications, whether it's by employees or by amounts of contracting dollars. Because the EWOSB are a subset of the WOSB, small businesses with the certification can bid on WOSB set aside, but the WOSB cannot bid on EWOSB set aside because you have to be economically disadvantaged. So if contract requirement is not in one of these approved industry codes, it cannot be set aside for this program. All right, so we're going to jump into what is the program eligibility. What makes you eligible to participate in this program? So the first question you need to ask yourself, is the WOSB certification appropriate for you? And so most of the small businesses concerns for the primary NICS code are WOSB federal contracting programs, but you have to be a 51% owner that controls by one or more women who are U.S. citizens. The management of the daily operations, and there is no minimum time in business requirement for this certification. They are, for the 8A program, you have to be in business for at least 2 years in order to qualify for the program. Next slide. Okay, the business must be as small as defined by the North American Industry Classification System. That's like I mentioned before, that's what's going to qualify or determine if you are a small business. The next code is a standard used by the federal statistical agencies in classifying businesses and establishments for the purpose of collecting, analyzing, and publishing the statistical data and related to the U.S. business economic. The size standards are determined either by gross receipts or the number of employees. And we will be sharing this presentation so you can actually click on the size standard tables. There was just one that was updated back in, I want to say March, either March or May, that was specifically for women-owned small businesses. Next slide. All right, so you do have to have control requirements. So management in the daily business operation must be controlled by either one or more women. So at the end of the day, you have to have that 51% ownership by women, okay? You direct ownership not through another business entity or any type of trust that includes employee stocks, ownerships, and plan. The managerial position must be the highest officer position, and you have to be the highest paid as well. There will be limitations on the outside employment. You have to be managing on a full-time basis during their normal business hours, and you have to make the final decision-making authority on the business. Next slide. In order to qualify for the WOSB, you also have to be be able to fit the economically disadvantaged requirements to qualify. That includes your personal net worth that cannot go above $750,000, the 3-year average income, which is about $350,000 or less, or the fair market value of all assets in $6 million or less. Next slide. All right, so here's a little explanation on what we look at when we're looking at your application. The personal network adjusted by subtracting the following items: the equity in your business, the equity interest in your personal residence, income received from any S corporations, LLC, or any type of partnership. However, losses cannot be used to reduce your personal net worth. Funds invested in any individual retirement accounts will be subtracted as well. And after subtracting all of the above, if your net worth is does not exceed the $750,000, then you definitely will be meeting the requirement for the economic disadvantage portion of the certification. Next slide. Transfers within 2 years. Assets that are transferred within 2 years of the date of the application will be attributed to the women claiming economic disadvantage. The transfer assets within the 2-year period would not be attributed to the woman if that transfer was to or on behalf of the immediate family. To any immediate family member in recognition of a special occasion such as birthday, graduations, anniversary, or retirement. All right, so the SBA has approved third-party certifications. It used to be where women can go in and do their own certification, but now you either get certified through the SBA or through this the following third-party certifications. These people can also help you with your certification. The SBA certification is free, so just keep that in mind. The SBA allows participations from firms certified by these entities as well, so you can try either or. Also the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs Center and the SBA Business Development Certification Program. All right, so let's move on to what is called the contracting opportunities and how you can search for those. Next slide. All right, the WOSB and the EWOSB are set-aside contracts. Just like I explained at the beginning, the government set aside 23%. So anything that you're bidding on is set-aside contracts. So there will be a rule of two. The contractor has a reasonable expectation that 2 or more WOSBs will submit for an offer. The award price, the contract must be awarded at a fair market price. And there will be a 6.5 for manufacturing or $4 million for any others. So what does this really mean? That they will, the rule of two, like it says in here, the contracting officer has to have the reasonable expectation that more than one woman is going to apply for this, because we want more opportunities and we're always going to try to go with the lowest price and what is beneficial for the government. Next slide. All right. So what is the sole source contract? A lot of people ask themselves, can I go in this by myself? Do I need to be a subcontract? So a sole contractor or a sole source contract is basically just awarded to you. And first you have to have the eligible NAICS code. The second, you have to have the fair and reasonable price. And third, you have to have the contract value. In the previous slide said 6 million, and this one says 7 million, but it's for manufacturing and 4.5 for any others. So the sole source will be just awarded to you, not to it will not be a contract that will be among other WOSBs. It's just going to be awarded to you. Next slide. You have to click on that one twice, I think. It's one of those animated ones. So proactive self-marketing. So I always tell my companies, you have to, number one, ask yourself what you're selling and who's buying it. Identify your buyers, get to know them, understand what the priorities are for each agency, especially the ones that you're going to be selecting to sell to. And then you're going to focus on their niche and start making contacts by outreach, by attending different trainings. That's how you're going to be able to find those contracting opportunities. So I oversee the 8A contract program, and a lot of people come and say, well, how do I find contracts? And I always tell them, I said, you know, you have to build your capability statement and you need to start making appointments, get in this contracting officer's faces so that they know who you are, that they know that you're really interested on selling or providing any type of services that they're looking for. That's how you're going to be able to get a contract, and obviously knowing where to find those opportunities as well. Next slide. So getting the most out of the WOSB federal contracting program, the ability to qualify for a set aside or a sole source contract, it increases prime and subcontracting opportunities. So let's say that you cannot get in as a sole source. You can always look at partnering or doing subcontracting opportunities, because that's going to give you the benefit of getting that experience. And a lot of the contracting officers, they look for that. Have you performed that previous job? So that's one thing you have to keep in mind. The opportunity to build the capacity and grow by establishing the joint ventures or participating in the SBA mentor protege program. So you can find a company that's already either been through the 8A program or it's a bigger company. It's going to help you to grow not only within the business, but as a person. And you have to find someone that is going to help you and you're going to help them. So it's kind of like a marriage. You have to really work on it. You cannot just sit there and expect them to do all the work for you. Once you get access to the WOSB or the EWOSB, you have access to training through the SBA. It's called the 7J management training. There's different contracts that provide so many different training opportunities, from learning to know how to read your financials, on how to put a bid proposal together, or learning about the joint ventures, mentor proteges. There's so many different topics that you can take advantage of. Next slide. All right, and this one is going to be a little bit tedious because I'm kind of going to walk you through the application process, and it's going to just be some pictures of how the application process goes. All right, so the first thing you got to do is you have to register in SAMS in order for you to bid on any type of federal contracts. And this is also how you find contracting opportunities. Then you're going to submit your application. And once you get the certification, then you can update your profile to show that you are a WOSB certified company. Next slide. All right, here is the SAMS registration, and it stands for the System Award Management. Okay, next slide. But in order for you to apply for the women certification, through the SBA, you will go to the betacertified.sba.gov. And in there, you can access checklists that is going to help you kind of gather all the documents on what you're going to need, because there's going to be a lot of different questions and a lot of different documentations that you're going to need to upload. Obviously, you're going to create your account and start the application process. Next slide. But before you do all that, there is this little, am I eligible? And it's going to ask you different questions to see if you're really, truly a company that is eligible to participate in this certification program. Next slide. Here are some of the questions that we'll ask you first. The Women-Owned Small Business Federal Contracting Program allows set asides for WOSB, where the firms underrepresented and the WOSB must be at least 51% ownership. So you have to answer those type of questions in order for you to continue the eligibility process. Next slide. All right, and then it goes to how to prepare. Next slide. All right. On preparing to apply for the WOSB program, the checklist is going to show you the documents that you will be required, like I was mentioning, for the application process. There will be a checklist, and I can also send, once the presentation is done, there is a guide that kind of walks you step by step on the application process. Next slide. There's a knowledge base tab as well in there, just kind of help you understand. Next slide. And the frequently asked questions. And like here's what I was telling you, there's that user guide that is going to walk you through the application process. All right, if you also need assistance, there will be, next slide. You can submit the question, and obviously this will go to the certification people, and they can answer that back to you. Sometimes it can take a minute. Unfortunately, some of our agency have shortage of people, but we all try to work through it. All right, so there's some different questions that you can ask. So, you know, sort of like account issues or a claim or documents or any type of delegation. So those are some of the subjects that you can choose if you need assistance. All right, and then you will start your application process. So getting started, once you have determined that eligibility and you have gathered all your documents, don't pay attention to where it says obtain a DUNS number, because this recently just changed to where it's called the UEI, which stands for Unique Identification Number. And this all changed in the SAMS.gov website page. If you are new to the SAMS registration, you will automatically get that UEI number, but there are companies that previously had this DUNS number. Obviously, the registration in the SAMS. So, oh, I'm sorry. There we go. And again, some of the issue and the decision and the certifications. The first, obviously, you're going to submit your application, and it's going to show the pending status. The next step will be the SBA will notify you on of a complete sufficient application within 15 days. If there is any issues with the application, you will receive an email asking you to either upload any additional documents or to provide an explanation to something that they might have a question on. The SBA will make a determination within 90 calendar days after the receipt of a complete application. So again, a complete application means that everything has been submitted. If there was any questions, you were able to answer those back. So that 90 days can extend a little longer, unfortunately. So keep that in mind. All right. So some tips to complete your application. Determine who needs to complete that the portion of the application. So if for example, I'm the one applying for that the certification and Sheila is applying with me, I need to make her a person that needs to answer some of the questions as well. Next slide. Make sure that you do the attestation and submitting the application in a complete manner. Once all the required information and the documents are submitted, you must submit the application to the SBA by attesting to the program sole certification summary. Make sure you follow the instructions, you navigate to the application overview. Just keep in mind that we in the district office, we do not have access to this portal. So sometimes that's why it's easier for me to provide the guide, because it kind of walks you through some of the questions or what's missing, or you can go back in and review that application. Next slide. All right, so here are some of the resources that can help you with the certification. We have the Procurement Center representative, which sits in our office. His name is Mr. Shelton Watson. He's our PCR. and he can help you with understanding some of the regulations, or if there is any protest on any type of contract, he can help you with that. Obviously, us at the district office, the women's business centers are there to assist you on any application process, as well as our procurement technical assistance center. And that's the next one I'm going to talk about. It's called, well, like I said, acronyms, the PTAC. The PTAC not only can help you with reviewing your resume, reviewing your application for the WOSB, but any other certification that you're trying to accomplish. But they can also put you in their database and provide you, based on your next codes, they can put you on this database that is called BizFeed, where they will send you contracting opportunities coming under that specific next code. You can have a primary next code, you can have as many secondary next codes, so that's the beauty of it. Obviously, follow the tables, because one kind of goes hand with the others, but the PTAC will be able to assist you on determining what is the most appropriate next code for you. The small business development centers can help you as well, as long as the score. And if you are a veteran, we also have our biz that can assist you on that as well. Next slide. This is what I was talking about, the PTAC. The PTAC, like I said, is just amazing to me. This is the PTAC is funded by the DoD and the state, and this are all free resources to you, where, like I said, they can help you with market structure and expenses, the systems and the capacity, and the ability to find those contracts that you are looking for. Next slide. So this is the website for the actual national PTAC, where you can find, where it says find the PTAC, you can select your state, and they can help you not only with the federal, but with the state as well on the certification programs. Here's some of the information from our headquarters, the SBA.gov WOSB Ready, or the WOSB Federal Contracting Program, and my information and my partner on the contracting side would be Aubrey Salazar as well. So with that being said, I am ready for some questions. Sheila, do you see any questions out there?
There was one question about how do we learn about the different agencies?
So the SBA has contract with about 24 different agencies. We're talking about from DoD, USDA, Department of Interior, the Social Security. I mean, there's just that agreement that we have along with these other agencies. So like I said, each agency is a little different when it comes to meeting the goals on women certification or any other certification. So again, it all depends on which agency you're looking to do business with.
Okay. There's a couple questions on folks wanting the PowerPoint sent to them. And I believe Lakin is going to do that, or it will be posted on their website.
I will send out the recording link, and also I will send out, it will have our website posted, and the slides will be available on there.
Okay, very good. Carolina, another question from Letitia. If you already certified, how do you get contracts with the state and federal government?
Okay, so there's when I talk about the PTAC where it becomes pretty helpful to you. The PTAC can put you in that system that they have. It's called BidSpeed, and they will send you some contract opportunities. There's also the SAMS.gov where you can go yourself and find those opportunities. And again, getting in contact with the different contracting officers, which will help you learn in advance if there are contract opportunities coming up.
A follow-up question, regarding about learning about the different agencies. Is there a website to find the different agencies? Would you recommend them seeking, information from PTAC or?
The PTAC can help you on that. And for example, I'm just going to take the GSA as an example. The GSA and each agency has a portion or a tab where it says business opportunity or doing business with the government. And in there, it would tell you specifically what's coming, what are some of the different contracts that they have done. So, and points of contact that you can reach out to.
A comment, SAMS is very difficult to understand.
Yes, unfortunately that it is true. But the PTAC, again, they have a system where they can help you navigate that system and for you to understand it. The Missouri PTAC, they are amazing. I mean, they're all are amazing, but I have dealt with the Missouri PTAC and they can walk you through that system from left to right, up and down. So you will be in great hands.
How would we get or find a city contract to start small?
So always look for your, again, the contracting opportunities by going into the state or the city and finding the business development or the contracting person. That will be your best bet. Like, for example, we are going to be having I think it's on the 6th of September. We are going to be having a presentation with this Jackson County, the acquisition folks that is going to show how they do business and how to find contract opportunities. So we're trying to collaborate with the different counties and the different cities to help you find those opportunities.
Someone said that she makes women's custom hats. Would there be an opportunity for her?
I'm sure there will be. Again, it all depends on the next code or the codes that you are working on. And you can find, once you get in contact with PTAC, you can find to see if there is contracting opportunities just by making, custom hats. Or a veteran, I know that I like to get those hats. So that's always nice.
Is your guidance to contact PTAC prior to registering for a SAMS number for assistance in the registration process?
Yes, and the only reason why I say that, because not only they can look at your resume, they can look at your business plan and kind of provide you some guidance on where you need to tweak things or maybe find or expand your experience in different ways. So you not only, sometimes people say, well, I'm just going to find a lady that was making hats. I make hats and that is all I make, right? But then you kind of have to start learning how to think outside the box. How do I find those opportunities by maybe reaching out to the veterans, maybe reaching out to the city or my husband used to work for the city of Overland Park here in Kansas City, and they have a contract, an acquisition department. They make hats for their employees, things like that. So not only just think about, I make hats for women, let's diverse, let's look outside the box. And that's where the PTAC comes in play to help you find those different niche.
Very good. And I think you answered the next question that this business owner, she's had her certifications, but she's not been able to get a contract. And you've talked about this, you have to be your own advocate.
Yes. Yeah, and also the PTAC can help you build that capability statements that I was talking about. So it's pretty much like a one-page resume where you're gonna put your qualifications, what you have done in just one simple page that you're gonna provide this to the contracting officers. Or if you're an outreach, and you can have that opportunity to go meet with that person, say, hey, here's my capability statement. This is what I can provide for you. Please let me know if there's any opportunities. So finding those opportunities that way will be able to help you.
Okay. This is a good question. Do you get state certified before federal?
So the state is completely different. We don't get involved with that, but the federal level, you'll be able to bid on contracts for the federal government. But if I'm not mistaken, the federal certification program kind of goes along the way with the state. And sometimes they said that getting certified through the federal is easier than getting certified through the state.
Okay. All right. And then there was another one regarding how to get state certified. So,
Yeah, it will be through the Secretary of State. You can get through there and start the certification process. So you can start there. The PTAC can also help you get the certification for the state and the federal.
are there classes held on submitting a bid from start to finish?
Yes, under our 7J training, we have, if you go under the sba.gov/contracting, you will be able to find the 7J training, and there's a lot of classes that are provided in there on how to submit a bid and or how to write a proposal.
Okay.
But you do have to have that certification in order for you to access those. So, but there's also training that the PTAC does provide, and so I'm assuming the WBC and some of our other resource partners that can provide that assistance as well.
Okay. Oh, the other is, how would you support a collaborative effort?
I don't know if I'm really understanding that question. What kind of collaborative effort are we talking about?
We'll have Joni if she'll further clarify on that.
Okay, we'll wait for Johnny to come back and clarify a little bit on that. I don't know if maybe they're talking about like subcontracting or teaming up partners.
I wonder if it's teaming up with,
I always suggest you teaming up with somebody that's already experienced, that knows how to navigate the contracting world, because it's a complete different world and it's a complete different language that you have to kind of learn on what you're doing.
she says two businesses combine their efforts to offer a service.
Yeah, so you can, like I said, do a teaming agreement or a joint venture or partnering up as for them to be a mentor or working together.
Letitia's asked, do you complete all the work with your own funds and then you get paid after?
Yes, so one of the things that we talk about is before you go into the certification, and not so much for the WOSB, but for like the 8 certification program, we always ask, you need to ask yourself, do I have enough cash flow? Am I going to have enough money to bid on in contracts? Because I'm going to put an example of one of our companies. She's a construction company. So the question she needs to ask herself is, if I go and bid on a contract, am I going to have enough funds for a surety bond, for insurance? And the SBA does have surety bond companies that can assist you as well. But those are things that you need to ask yourself, or kind of getting yourself, start doing small contracts. That's baby steps. You do one contract, you're teaming up with a different company, and once you're ready and you have enough cash flow to bid on this bigger projects, then absolutely, yeah, you're gonna have to put the money out there first.
Okay. Someone is asking about the 7-day training program.
It's called a 7J management training, and I'm gonna put that on the website. I think it's extremely helpful for you guys to get access to this. So I'll put that in the chat real quick. It's called the 7J Management Technical Assistance Program. Put that in here.
While you're doing that, the question popped in about helping folks find or partner with, big companies.
I'm sorry, what was
Is-
the question again?
Does our office help businesses partner with larger companies?
Well, we don't do that, but I know, for example, if I know of a company that's doing interior design and then they're trying to get into the construction or different opportunities, and if I know two companies, I'm always more than happy to provide, that information. I always first check with the company to make sure that it is okay. Because some companies, there might be, the person that they're competing against, so there could be a problem there. Oh, there you go. I think I just provided that website just to you, not to everybody. Thanks for doing that.
Everyone should be able to see it now.
Okay. Joni asked, how would you know if you have enough cash flow to support a bid effort?
That will definitely depend on your sales. So you're looking at your taxes. That will be you'll be able to determine that. Once you are able to sit down with the PTAC, they can go through it, help you understand it, make sure that you have enough cash flow, that you are making money, that you're not just losing money at the end of the year to be able to support those contracts.
Okay. All right, I think that has been all the questions.
I just see one more that just popped up. Says your office does a good job introducing the links and the resources, but the small companies need complete step-by-step guidance to finish the bid contract process. So Leticia, that's where the PTAC will be a help to you, because they can help you with that. And Lakin, tell me if I'm mistaken, but you guys do that as well.
We can help them out, yes. If it's something significant, we're going to refer them to PTAC probably. So you might as well find one. I know there's a lot of people that aren't in our area right now on here. So probably reach out to the PTAC in your area. But we can connect you to those if you need us to.
And we have a great gentleman, Alan Waldo from the Springfield, Missouri PTAC, who's amazing. He's been doing this for over 30 years, so he knows and understands the process. I don't see any other questions. Nathan, do you see any other questions coming in, or?
The only thing I see is, I think that yes, please, is us connecting them to a PTAC in their area, hopefully, which I can reach out afterwards and send them or get their information of where they're at and send them that information.
The PTAC is amazing. I mean, I cannot encourage you more to do that, to reach out to them, because not only is a free resource to you, your tax dollar is already paying for this resources. They can help you, they can assist you, getting the application, finding your contract opportunities. just like one of you guys mentioned, yes, we do provide a lot of links, but that's what our job is to provide you that information and connect you to the right people to help you out. And that's where our resource partners come in play. They all are amazing. They are different and unique in their own, and they have different ways that they can help you.
I did include the PTAC link in case anybody wants to look for their local one.
Anything else that we have? Mr. Lark, any last minute suggestions from your side?
Yeah, first, great job. You guys know this stuff code. It's great for me to be on here because I always learn something new. So I appreciate you inviting me. I would just make a couple of maybe just 3 points. First and foremost, you have mentioned PTAC a lot. And I know from my own experience, rather than try to go, I would say, don't go it alone. Go to your PTAC because they can help you not just with federal, but with state. I mean, they work across multiple organizations and they know how the system works and how to get you through it and best represent you when you put that application forward. So I would encourage everybody to take advantage of their PTAC one. The next one is, why go through all this? And so I normally start this way, but the Biden-Harris administration are really focused on advancing equity and building a better America through entrepreneurship. Women businesses are growing faster than ever. And now what we want to do is connect women's business to more sources of revenue, which means sales. And so why would you do this? Because ideally you're going to generate more sales. But the other thing is when you're in the areas where you're working, other companies see you working. And then that creates another line of relationships and more sales. And I can give you a simple example out of the airport. A a woman entrepreneur started working there and she was actually doing painting. And then after that, the contractor saw her and said, hey, we've got some additional jobs where we need help. And so she got more contracts just by being in the area and they saw her work. And so once we get you in, you're not just going to find federal contracts, you're going to find relationships to other business. And ultimately what you want to do, especially as a young business, is diversify your business as quick as possible so that should there be an economic downturn or you have a catastrophe, you got other sources of, or one of your clients decides to go out of business or they stop doing business with you, you have other sources of revenue and other sources of sales to sustain you. And so the federal government is a way to open the door, and that door opens not well beyond the federal government. So I'd encourage everyone in earshot and everybody to talk about this, because if we can get more women doing these kinds of contracts, we'll have a much more vibrant economy, but more important, a much more resilient economy. And that's really what we want to see in this community. So I thank you all for joining. I thank you for hosting this. It's been very invaluable. And I hope, if nothing else, my message inspires you to go get ready, go get certified and get in the game.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I don't see any other questions. Lakin, thank you very much for providing the platform for us to come out and talk about the opportunities that we have at the SBA. We are happy to help at any point. I know one person was asking if we are in person now. We are not. Some of us are still working from home, but I'm more than happy to get with you, help you walk through it. An individual phone call or email, or sometimes just a video call, that can help as well. So we are all here to help you. So take advantage of that. We are more, I know all of us, and then I'm just speaking for myself, but we are all passionate in helping the small businesses out there to succeed, because just like Mr. Lark mentioned, that's what's going to bring our economy back up and is going to help us in the future.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. I have definitely learned today. Those were great questions from our participants. So thank you guys for that. Slides will be on our website. The link to our website will be sent out with the recording link. Please visit that. You can get them off there. You can rewatch this. You can show it to all your friends so you guys can team up. We look forward to answering any questions you guys have. And thank you again, Carolina, Versi, Sheila, this was amazing. Thank you, thank you.
Much.
Thank
Have a
you.
great afternoon.
Have a great
Yes.
afternoon.
Goodbye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.